Good evening and a very warm welcome. Let's take a look at the top story that we are tracking for you this hour, starting with the biggest story here on WION The G7 Summit. Pact Day 2 has commenced in Cornwall with a back-to-back plenary session scheduled until this evening. Now, day 1 was all about the coronavirus pandemic and vaccines against the deadly virus, which continued through Saturday. Now, earlier today, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced the Carbus Bay Declaration, and he has acclaimed a historic action plan by the G7 nations to prevent future pandemics. Johnson tweeted, and I quote, "Under this agreement, the world's leading democracies will commit to preventing a global pandemic from ever happening again, ensuring the devastation caused by COVID-19 is never repeated." Now, what is the Carbus Bay Declaration? The pact comprises a series of health policy commitments that member nations will work on collectively. They include speeding up the time taken to develop and license vaccines, reduce the time taken to come up with treatment and diagnostics of any future outbreak in under 100 days. And all of this while reinforcing surveillance networks to identify and contain the disease before it's too late. The second big thing on the agenda was showcasing a united front against China and Russia. The latest that we have is that the leaders have launched a plan to help build infrastructure in poorer nations. Now, they will offer a values-driven, high-standard and transparent partnership in opposition to China's Belt and Road Initiative. This comes as a big win to the Biden administration, and per a senior White House official, this is not just about confronting or taking on China, but providing an affirmative, positive alternative vision for the world. Day 2 of the summit will be more about the 7 countries and their foreign policy. The G7, Britain, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United States. The day also includes virtual sessions with leaders of Australia, South Africa, South Korea, and India. And for more on this, our correspondent Ollie Barrett spoke to Laura Isherwood on foreign policy. Listen in.
Just on those guest nations, the 4 guests that have been invited that aren't G7 members, it's no coincidence which countries are here.
Absolutely not. And this is obviously the leading economies and democracies that are making up the bulk of the G7, those core members. But the likes of South Africa being invited, India, Australia, South Korea, these are all nations with real economies that are building. They are obviously important trade partners too. So having those countries and representatives from them around the table is a boost for everyone within the G7.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.